Welcome to Spaceship Frost. I am Kyle Frost of Spaceship Frost. Oh, I should bring it down. It's kind of late night here. So this is not a particularly important rest stop for me. Just another one of the ones in between the Twin Cities and Madison. The reason I am here is because I'm heading down to finally get my first vaccine dose. Woo! Because my school district is going a little bit too slow for someone my age. So it is what it is. Being in the National Guard for going on 17 years now apparently has a benefit. The reason I'm doing it at this time is because A, I need a break from driving. I've been at it for a little bit too long. I started at 7:45 at night. I'm getting old. Not old enough to get a flu or a COVID vaccine already, but old enough that driving at night is starting to take a little bit more of a toll. But also, I wanted to put a stamp on today because today is Marauder's Expansion Kickstarter launch day. Bow, 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 bow. If you haven't gotten there and you're watching this, I don't know who you are. There are a bajillion people who have already been there. Actually, we've got it up right here. 10,216 people who have already been there. I was in the 300s this morning. I was very excited. Very, very ready for the launch and super pumped. You may have already seen, this is kind of like a double root Poetic Elements week, because I did release a video on the Poetic Elements channel for my 60-second root entry. And it's all about how I, way back when, actually a year ago to today, February 23rd of 2020, a year before the Marauder's Expansion Kickstarter launch, I released the faction flowchart to Board Game Geek. And it was kind of when I was just really like revving up my love of the game. And since then, played a lot more Root. Started a channel primarily to make Root content. Made a Root Broadway spoof. And now have written a nice poem about kind of my path, starting with that first major landmark of making the faction flowchart. So today, without any further ado, I'm going to read you live on the not the evening of, but the evening after the Kickstarter launch. Here is my poem entitled "I Made a Faction Flowchart," and I have a little addendum afterwards for this was all pre-Kickstarter. I didn't know the details of the Kickstarter, so there's a little coda that I'm going to add afterwards. Also, if you go here in this region, there is a link to the actual video I made of this poem that has a little bit of setup footage that my wonderful, lovely wife filmed of me doing. So if you're interested in that, it's over there somewhere. James, how about something kind of epic of some sort? Has something new? No, we've already done that one. Is there another? We've already done that one too. All right. I made a faction flowchart with decisions to be made. Is war the biggest thrill in life, in mountain, lake, or glade? Are you a crafty craftsman, making tools to fill your shelf? Do you yearn for group adventures, or explore all by yourself? When mistakes are made and down you fall, how deep are your frustrations? Will you wheel and deal for piles of gold, or follow higher machinations? I made this faction flowchart for those times it's hard to pick. The factions range in fluff and style, so I want the choice to stick. But I also made this flowchart to help us to remember the time I sold dominance to moles, or when so-and-so got dismembered. For Root's a game of character, of push and pull and grit, of lucky rolls and subtle ploys, of politics and wit. And when the rats and badgers come galumphing to the table, I'll gladly revisit these lines and words and add them best I'm able. And now, for the Marauder's Expansion Coda to the poem, I Made a Faction Flowchart. Hirelings, 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 keepers in iron. Hirelings, 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 Lord of the Hundreds. Hirelings, hirelings, landmarks. Hireling, hirelings, bots. Hirelings, 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 box. I'm super excited about, okay, the Badgers and the Lord of the Hundreds. I'm also very excited for that. I'm clearly excited. Well, I guess not clearly. You would assume, and you would be right, I am excited about the next iteration of the bots, especially because the moles have the exact same energy. That cute, adorable energy of the Underground Duchy was so perfectly captured in these like cone-nosed little drill fist little guys. It's wonderful. But the landmarks, I'm very excited to see how those work. The new setup, that's also very exciting to me. But hirelings look so cool. And I knew I love the idea of having this other version of the major factions that are already there. You know, just like this little like twist to still, and having the color but different meeples, I think is brilliant. Because I have thought about that. There are only so many colors that, you know, the average person could perceive and be different from each other. So to be able to reuse the colors with a little bit of a different meeple shape, with some different artwork on it, with a name stamped to it to give it a little bit of flavor and fluff. I'm so excited. But then I saw ones that aren't attached to actual factions. You know, when I'm very excited for the bear. The Forest Patrol and Last Dynasty look adorable. Warm Sun Prophets look like their little hands over their mouth. But the Riverfolk Flotilla with their little like card hat things, the little like green you know, what you call them, brims, and they just all look so nonplussed. They're just like, who wants to buy something? Adorable. But then the Rowdy Crowd, a pink faction, which, you know, I don't know anything more. We don't know anything more about this Rowdy Crowd. It's just a question mark on a generic meeple. Then we go down the Raven Spies, adorable goggles. The Sunward Expedition might be one of the coolest names. I love that name. But then the Protector, like this majestic deer person. He's like, and you can see the little picture in the background. He's got like a something. It's like a deer knight. But then, as a middle school band director, there is a minor faction entitled Traveling Band, and the meeple is a person with a flute and little eighth notes. And my heart exploded. And then I put the pieces back together, and I taped it up, and I looked at it again, and it's magical. And I love it. And I haven't even seen it yet. And I'm so excited. Though you probably couldn't tell that. So anyways, this is doing exactly what I wanted to. Well, the two things. The first, to commemorate Marauder Kickstarter launch day. Boom. To also commemorate exactly 1 year since I released the faction flowchart. Since I released the poem before that. And I'll release this after it, because I'm not magic. I'm not just going to like edit it while driving, which would be very dangerous. But I'm filming on the day, February 23rd. But the second, and just as important of a feature of this Poetic Elements episode, I have so much more energy now. I'm ready to hit the road, because I've been talking about Root to myself and to James and to you. So with that, thank you so much for being here. As always, I need to change the banner on my page, because I love the fact that the one thing that is consistent at least for the time being. And I have plans to make sure to keep myself on the schedule. The one thing that's consistent is me releasing these poems about board games. So I hope you guys like it. Everything else on the channel is like whatever happens to be happening. And I have a list of things I'd like to do. May or may not work out, but poetry each week, hell yeah. Thank you again for joining me here in the Poetry Lounge of Spaceship Frost and Root Marauders. I already can't wait. It's so far away, but at least now we get to hear Cole and Patrick and the whole rest of the team talk more about these minor factions, the traveling band. I'm so excited. So with that, have a great night or day or morning or whatever time it is. I'm gonna get back on the road. See you next time.